Hi, I'm Sarah and welcome to my musings on midlife. So today, if you are in your 20s, just about to turn 30, or you're already in your 30s, pull up a chair because I want to share 5 things that I've learned over the past 20 or so years that I really wish someone had told me about life back then, and I'm hoping it'll help you out now, especially if you struggle with the concept of having wasted so much time. You know, one great thing about getting older is that you get to look back on your life with 20/20 vision and reminisce about all the things that, well, went wrong, and all the mistakes that you made and everything that you failed at, and lie awake at night wondering, if only I hadn't wasted my 20s, wouldn't I now be smarter, richer, and happier? And you start blaming past you for who and where you are today because you were supposed to accomplish so much in that decade, like travel the world, get a degree, find the one, get married, buy a house, have kids, kickstart your career, have loads of friends, say yes to everything and party like it was 1999. But in reality, you've barely made it through half that list. And now you think that there is no possible way that you can catch up to everyone else, and you've only set the rest of your life up for disappointment. If you feel directionless or that you're falling further behind your friends, you simply don't know what you want to do with the rest of your life, or you feel like no one quite understands if you lose a job or you don't get your dream job, or you have your heart broken or never have enough money to buy and do the things that you want, and everyone is just expecting a little bit too much from you, then all I can say is, welcome to your quarter-life crisis, more commonly known as adulthood. And these feelings and emotions will cut you really deeply right now because this is the first time that you're encountering these true adult situations and you have no past experience to compare it to or ways that you know how to navigate through it yet. And the only people that you tend to talk to are also going through the exact same thing and they have no clue how to get through it either. And yes, it sucks because at this stage you think you know everything. Look, I'm in my 40s and I still don't know shit, but I have been around the block enough times to know that there is still so much for you to learn and really a lot that you don't actually need to care about because all of those things on society's unspoken life list don't have to happen in a specific order. They don't have to happen in an arbitrary time frame, and some of them don't actually have to happen at all. As much as we like to believe it is, and we keep being told as much, life is not linear. Think of it as either a game where you still get to level up even if you haven't completed your side quests, or maybe more like the Harry Potter maze, this complex network of paths with turns and dead ends and choices that are designed to be challenging and confusing to navigate. Life is meant to be inconvenient and it is meant to be messy, but you know what? Those are the times that actually end up being the best parts. Some people don't find their life partner until their 30s. Others start their careers over in their 40s. Some people prefer renting to owning a home, and more still are choosing not to have kids. So it's okay to go backwards or sideways or in circles to find your right path. You do know that you get to create your own timeline and choose your own adventure, right? And stop comparing yourself to the person who seemingly has it all at the age of 28, because chances are they're either just showing you their highlight reel and their life is kind of shitty under the surface, or they've peaked and it's all going to come crashing down because they've burnt themselves out and they're going to have to rebuild everything by the age of 35 anyway. You are supposed to have an identity crisis. It is totally normal. And it's kind of the point because your 20s are the first time in your life that you are discovering your own identity separate from your family. And it's a time of endless opportunity to do things on your own, in your own way, like maybe go travel on your own or live by yourself and go against the grain and make the mistakes to help grow your confidence and feel good about who you are. and start understanding those things that you're simply not willing to compromise on. It's a time to start trusting your own judgment and choices and decisions, because if you don't know what's true for you, you'll only end up borrowing other people's opinions and beliefs and likes and dislikes without forming any of your own. And it's really hard to keep trying to fit in with everyone else, especially if you're trying to find a partner, because you'll not only end up deceiving them, but also yourself, and then you'll just set the both of you up to fail. And on the flip side, you can't expect someone else to change or evolve into what you want and need. Your life isn't a carefully scripted rom-com with a happily ever after. A real relationship isn't about fixing or molding someone, it's learning to appreciate them as a completely separate person, flaws and all, because everyone is on this lifelong process of simply trying to figure out who they are, and for some people it just takes longer than others. So I've been working 30 years and I'm nowhere near where I started. Actually, I know very few people who are in the same career or industry that they studied for or started in their 20s. So the first career path that you choose does not have to be your last. Even if you told everyone that you were going to be an actor, a musician, a teacher, a doctor, and it didn't quite work out, you didn't fail, you just came to the realization that it wasn't quite the right fit for you. And there's no shame in trying a few different jobs on for size. You know, I don't actually think I have had a career per se. I have had a portfolio of jobs that have given me the abilities and transferable skills to change what I did when something didn't quite work out or I didn't like it as much as I thought I would. And that's not to say I haven't had setbacks, knockbacks, rejections, redundancies, and been passed over for promotions, because I certainly have. But I have always landed back on my feet. And you know, climbing the corporate ladder isn't everyone's ambition. It certainly wasn't mine. And that's not to say I'm not ambitious. My work just might have looked a little different. And it took me a long time to realize that it doesn't actually define who you are, and there is always an opportunity to try something new. In your 20s particularly, there is a lot of pressure to have that super outgoing, bubbly, extroverted, main character energy, because people will always tell you that, well, these are the best years of your life. Like your 20s are supposed to be one long, endless party, to which I call complete BS, because your 20s are also stressful and overwhelming. Never stopping, never letting a moment go by, being seen, being heard, doing more, achieving more, pushing to reach your goals, constantly being told to speak up and smile more, otherwise you were going to get left behind and miss out, right? I found that so exhausting, but I pushed myself to do it all anyway. Why? Because I was ashamed and I didn't really want to look like that nerdy type who would turn their nose up at a good time or was maybe slower off the mark than everyone else, only there wasn't actually anything wrong with my introverted version of a good time or the ways in which I carefully and thoughtfully weighed up my options. So I promise you, it is okay to be quiet. You are not weird, you are not boring, you are just beautifully you. You know, I think we're so used to being told that if we're not out making noise, we're somehow doing life wrong. But guess what? Quiet moments count too. Like staying in with a good book, having a really deep conversation with a friend at 1 a.m, taking a walk through a park, watching the people or the rain, appreciating the architecture in your city, or going to an art exhibition, or maybe just thinking more deeply about life. All of those are just as valuable as any crazy night out. They just simply don't get as much airtime. You know, there's nothing wrong with not loving loud places or big crowds, because not everyone thrives on that kind of stimulation and chaos. And you know what? The world doesn't actually need more people filling every little silence. It needs people who can hold silence, people who are comfortable in silence, people who actually think before they speak and who can actively listen, People who can have real, intentional conversations without always needing to be front and center of attention all the time. So if you've ever sat there thinking, should I push myself to be louder? Should I force myself to go out and enjoy these crazy parties? Should I try harder to fit in? No, you do not need to perform to fit in because it will only lead to early burnout. Your 20s don't have to be allowed to be meaningful. You are allowed to be exactly as you are, and the people who really get you won't force you to change. Now, if you're still thinking, I have wasted all this time, I've already failed, every single choice that I've made is wrong, and I should have done more, I just want you to know, you are not behind, you're not a disappointment. You're just at the part of your story where nothing quite makes sense yet, and that's totally normal. You do know you're not alone, right? People my age, we've all been there. And some of us are still there. You don't need to tick off someone else's life checklist. You don't need to have found your purpose by 30, and you certainly don't need everything figured out to be worthy or successful or happy, because none of those actually have an expiration date. All of those mistakes, those failures, they help you learn and help you grow into the person that you want to be, to help you help others not make the same mistakes. Maybe step away from social media or take a digital detox to take time to connect with actual people in the real world. Live in the moment, enjoy it, and be proud of everything that you have achieved so far, because when you get to my age, you finally realize actually nothing is wasted and your best years might actually be ahead of you. So until next time, thank you so much for watching. Take very good care.